Hi, welcome and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Well, if the training includes good morals and honesty, integrity, and other good or even godly qualities, then that's great. However, if the training lacks moral code, doesn't respect boundaries, and is conducted under adverse conditions, toxic traits, and generational trauma, that's a problem. The training that you've received as a child can inform your choices as an adult, and it's easy to underestimate the power of that because it's family and we love our families, or we're taught to love our families and to stick together. And these are the people who have brought us into the world and who have raised us and who have created memories with and for us. Sometimes things can get a little murky when it comes to picking out the ways that you have been trained to tolerate abusive behavior and toxicity. Here are 5 free trainings that you did not sign up for that may have likely caused you to tolerate narcissistic abuse. One is, come check this out. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You may have been doing your schoolwork, you may have been working on some household chores, or you just might have been playing in your room, but you were directed to stop what you were doing, drop what you were working on, and to show up instantaneously to listen to or pay attention to whatever your parent felt like was more important than what you were doing. This is a boundary buster. This teaches you that what you are doing is not important, and that when someone snaps their finger, raises their voice, and insists in a very firm way that you come right now and stop what you are doing to pay attention to them, that you are not allowed to have boundaries, set priorities for yourself, or complete things that you have started or that you are working on that maybe you need to actually get done, say in the case of your homework or something like that, or finishing out a chore. A second training is staying in a marriage or long-term relationship for umpty-ump years, no matter what, and to keep it together. This trains you to hold out hope for change, especially in a situation where there may be abuse going on. Later on in life, you're going to remember that, hey, you stick it out, you tough it out, you stay together, whether it's for the kids or for the pets or for the property. It keeps you holding out hope for change. And change may never come, but the idea is that it's been embedded in your mind that you need to muster up the courage or the determination to white knuckle it to the very end, because that's what's been modeled, because you don't want to give up on someone. This could be tied to religious reasons where maybe divorce or separation is frowned upon or considered shameful or looked upon as a failure. Or it could be tied to social reasons or some kind of social shame. Say in the case where maybe a parent who was a product of divorce hated what they went through and decided a long time ago that they were not going to put their children through that same situation where there was the tugging back and forth and the pitting against one parent against the other and getting caught in the middle of a conflict. This may be why you were taught and trained to tolerate a relationship that might have been abusive or toxic in some other way, and to hang in there and gut it out for the long haul, no matter what. Another training is go give so-and-so relative a hug and a kiss. And maybe that relative was an alcoholic or was a drug addict, and maybe they were a smoker, and they smelled funny, and they had toxic vices like that, and maybe you felt uncomfortable as a child going to approach this person who reeked of toxicity to show them some kind of affection. And inside, you may have felt like, I don't really want to, but you were trained to go ahead and go do it, or instructed to go do it. And so as a result, your tolerance for toxicity may have been expanded to include various addictions. And so later on in life, you may have entered a relationship with someone who had a similar vice, maybe a smoker or an addict or an alcoholic, and not realizing or connecting the dots that, okay, this toxicity, this kind of toxicity was normalized when I was younger, and so I don't really mind the smell, doesn't really bother me, it's okay, even though you're exposing yourself later to secondhand smoke, or you are dealing with someone who may be abandoning you to go feed their addiction, or who may be consuming a lot of alcohol around you, which may then lead to violent behavior or abuse in the home, which if you have children, they may be witnessing, or even the pets. A fourth training that you may have received is being silenced or shut down when you spoke up and pointed out the obvious, or tried to. And the message given here, or the lesson here in this training, is that you are to stay silent, you are not to point out the obvious or speak up about things that are off or off-putting or potentially dangerous or threatening or just not favorable. And again, your tolerance expands for this dysfunctional situation or dysfunctional behavior. And later on in life, when you are around similar situations, you're not going to really be as bothered by it because you've built up a tolerance for it from an early age. A fifth training is what I call toxic reverence, or a toxic respect. A toxic reverence or a toxic respect, to me, is when you are showing respect and you are honoring, in a sense, someone who is displaying dysfunctional behavior outwardly. And say when you were younger, you might have seen this in a family. If you came from a narcissistic family where, say, a relative, maybe someone in a high position in the family, like a matriarch or a patriarch, was displaying outwardly toxic behavior like gossiping or backbiting or triangulation amongst family members, pitting relatives against each other, or devaluation. Could be devaluation even of their own children, who maybe to you were older or elders to you that really you should have respect for, but you witnessed them being devalued by, say, a higher figure in the family. But because of the position of the higher figure in the family, like say a matriarch or patriarch that is an elder to a lot of adults and then all of their offspring, that there's an unspoken expectation or maybe even prompting to still show this elder respect or reverence. Maybe they, again, head up the family. Maybe they host a lot of family gatherings where everybody is able to come together and they are brought together around a meal or around a particular holiday. And so there's this expectation that everyone is supposed to worship at the feet of, say, a particular elder. And what happens is, if you're witnessing this, your conscience is being seared against gossip or triangulation or backbiting. You may not agree with it, and you may even be shocked at it. You may have even been shocked at it when you were younger, but because of your lower position in the pecking order, say in a narcissistic family, what are you really going to say? Especially if your parents, for example, are bringing you around this type of behavior and are expecting you to conduct yourself in a respectful manner, or to approach even toxic family members or dysfunctional family members in a respectful manner, even if their behavior is not respectful to others, which will then inform your tolerance of that kind of behavior later on in life. You may be on the receiving end of gossip or devaluation or some kind of backbiting or triangulation. Because of the training you receive, you may take on the attitude of not speaking up or not speaking out against that behavior when you see it later on in life. And so you're, again, further searing your conscience. And not only that, but you are actively participating, or even passively participating, because silence is in essence a decision in, say, the devaluation or the gossiping or backbiting or triangulation of someone else. And it's not healthy. It's not going to serve you as an adult, because you may continue to make poor choices in your relationships because of your tolerance of toxic behavior. But also, you may surround yourself with people who do this type of thing because you were trained to tolerate it. You may be able to think of some additional free trainings that you received that you did not sign up for, that may have taught you or trained you to tolerate narcissistic abuse as you grew up and later on in your life. Comment below. They may help someone else to kind of have some aha moments and recognize some ways that they were taught and trained, or some master classes that they attended back in the day or in their younger years that they did not sign up for, that have led them to tolerate narcissistically abusive relationships and toxicity in other people. The training that you receive as a child should ideally help you to grow up to become a better person and to make positive contributions in society and to help others be better, and also steadily improve on yourself, and then be able to pass on those morals and those positive traits onto your children in an ideal world. Unfortunately, you may have received some training that taught you to tolerate narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. And even though that training didn't cost you anything as a child, you end up paying a heavy price for it later on in life as an adult. Once you recognize who and what you've been dealing with, or who and what you've been trained to tolerate, it's eye-opening. And you owe it to yourself and to future generations to pivot and to course correct so that you can break the cycle. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.